Have you ever noticed these things attached to buildings in your town or village? They're called blue plaques and they're used to celebrate notable people, places and events within Rhondda Cynon Taf. We've been using our detective skills to research a number of these plaques which we found in the area surrounding our school in Treorchy, and this is what we've discovered.
What do Myra and Bevan, Princess Diana and Isambard Kingdom Brunel have in common?
I don't know.
They've all had bronze statues made of them by the sculptor Robert Thomas.
Oh, I know. Is Robert the one who done the Jesus statue outside Vass's? He's my great uncle.
It's not Jesus. It's a miner with his wife and young child. Look, here it is being unveiled in 1993.
Alright, why is it there then?
I think it's there to represent our mining heritage. It's actually really near the place where the Tonypandy riots happened in 1910.
Did Robert have any connections to the mining then?
Well, his dad was a miner and Robert was born during the general strike of 1926, which hit the mining community hard. Robert also worked underground as an electrician during World War II. He was a Bevan boy.
And after that he won a scholarship to Cardiff College of Art and then moved to London to teach at Ealing Technical College.
And he started making all the statues of the famous people.
Yeah, but they're not all the famous people. There's a really nice family sculpture in Queen Street, Cardiff, near the Capitol Centre, and there's a minor one too.
Oh, I'll have to take a look next time I have to go to Primark.
Elizabeth Andrews, 1882 to 1960. Elizabeth Andrews, OBE, was the first women organiser of the Labour Party in Wales. She moved to the Rhondda in 1908 at the age of 26. She became politically active to try and make a difference to some of the terrible living conditions she saw in the Rhondda at the time. She tackled issues like babies being scalded to death in tubs of boiling water and the bad health effects of the dirt from the mines brought into the home. She set up women's universities and translated leaflets from English to Welsh to urge women to use their newly won vote. She also became one of Britain's first female magistrates. Welsh politics was dominated by men at the time, so Elizabeth was not always popular. On one occasion, some suffragettes came to Treorchy to give a speech about women's rights. They were met from the train by a gang of angry men who didn't want to see any change. The women went to a cafe, but the crowd followed them. They had to escape through a back window by a ladder. But she kept fighting for women's rights. Her motto was, educate, agitate, organise.
Donald Watts Davis.
He was born on Dumfries Street, Treorchy, in June 1924. His mother wasn't expecting twins, and he was the second twin. His sister Marion was born healthy, but he was a stillborn, and the doctor put him to one side, saying that one is enough.
But his grandmother, Margaret Ann Davis, saw him move and she revived him. Thanks, Gran.
He went on to be one of the founding fathers of the internet. Donald only lived in the Rhondda for a year. He left for Portsmouth, his mother's original home, in 1925 after his father died. He always had an inquiring mind. As a boy, he used to lay in bed and listen to the trams, wondering if he could scientifically prove that God existed. In 1947, Donald joined the National Physical Lab, NPL, and got to work with Alan Turing, the famous codebreaker. In 1966, he started working on his big idea, packet switching. If you've got a long message or a large file, it takes a long time to send it in a big chunk. So his idea was to split this large file up and send it in smaller chunks or packets. It could then be sent much faster from one computer and put together in another computer. This idea of packet switching is one of the main ways that computers send information between each other today. So it's what makes the internet interconnected.
Dr. John Davis had an amazing life, and it all started on the 27th of April 1938 in Llanybia Hospital. He was an historian, lecturer, broadcaster and Welsh language campaigner.
John spent only the first 7 years of his life in Treorchy and then would go on to travel in Europe and the world. But he still said it was his Rhondda upbringing that defined him.
As a boy, he was a lot like us really. John attended his local infant school in Treorchy. Saturday morning, he would visit the Pavilion Cinema on Station Road with his sister, and in the afternoon they would visit the park near the railway station. He also loved history, like us.
His other passions were literature, landscape and the Welsh language, which all came together in his famous book Hanes Cymru, which was published in 1990.
When it came to the Welsh language, John felt really strongly about it. They wanted to make the language visible all over the country, so in 1964, in a little village in Pembrokeshire, John literally made it more visible by switching the village sign from Treevine to Treevin.
Well, the local council wasn't happy and even sent the police to arrest John. But it all worked. John's actions started a 5-year campaign, and since then, places named all over Wales are written in both Welsh and English.
This was the start of the fight for equal rights of the Welsh language, and John was the heart of it.
Da iawn, John!
Did you know that Tom Pentre was the birthplace of 2 legendary Welsh footballers? Yes, really. Forget Gareth Bale and Aaron Ramsey. Let me tell you about Jimmy Murphy and Roy Paul. And it's no surprise really, because Tom's had loads of football success in the past. Jimmy was born on 8th of August 1910 and went on to make over 200 appearances for West Bromwich Albion and gained 15 caps for Wales before becoming Sir Matt Busby's right-hand man at Manchester United, and then going on to manage Wales. This included the 1958 World Cup in Sweden, which was Wales' last visit to a World Cup until the recent 2022 Qatar tournament, which was led by another Rhondda legend, Robert Page. Those are all pretty amazing stats, but let's take a look at Roy Paul's. Roy was born in Tom Pentre 10 years after Jimmy on 18th April 1920. He'd left school at 15 to become a miner and played for Tomboys Club in his spare time, which is where he scouted by Swansea Town and became a professional footballer. Roy Paul made 159 appearances for Swansea Town and went on to play almost 300 times for Manchester City, many as a captain, and won 33 Welsh international caps, which is amazing given that his career was interrupted by World War II, but even more interesting that he knew my nan.
William Abraham, also known as Mabon, is a hero for the Rhondda miners and the trade union movement. He was also popular as a preacher, a lecturer, singer, conductor and Eisteddfod poet. He was born in Carmarthen in June 1842 and started work as a doorboy at the local colliery aged 10. At the age of 19 he married and had 12 children.
In 1877 he moved to Pentre in the Rhondda and joined the Cambrian Miners Association. The miners in the Rhondda felt very downtrodden at the time as they felt they had no rights. Only 30 turned up to the first union meeting, but Mabon's skills as a speaker uplifted the spirits of the Rhondda miners, and the union quickly grew to 14,000 members.
In 1885, he was elected as the first ever MP for the newly formed constituency of the Rhondda and held that post for 35 years standing up for workers' rights. Then, when all of South Wales miners' workers' groups united into the South Wales Miners' Federation in 1898, Mabon was elected as its president. It was one of the most powerful trade unions around. When he died, he left a small fortune of £33,315, which was about 300 years of pay for a miner at the time.
What an amazing amount of history there is in Rhondda Cynon Taf. We hope we've inspired you to go out and discover more about the local heritage in your area.